All in year four, and welcome to today's maths lesson. Now, our maths focus for this week is going to be on fractions. So I thought before we start on today's learning objective, it's important for us to think about what we actually mean by a fraction. So I'm just going to adjust this screen so you can see. So it says here, a fraction is an equal part of a whole. And the really important word in there is the word equal. Okay, so I've got a shape here, which is to show you an example of a fraction. And I can see that this shape is divided into 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. And when we think about how many equal parts one whole is split into, well, that number goes at the bottom of the fraction there. And I know that this shape is split into 4 equal parts, which means I can put a 4 here. I wonder if you can remember what the bottom number of a fraction is called. Well, it is called a denominator. Okay, so the bottom number of the fraction is called a denominator. And then when we think about how many equal parts there are, and in this shape there are 1, 2, 3, then that number comes at the top of the fraction. So I'm going to place a 3 here. So I know that 3 out of the 4 equal parts of this whole shape are shaded in. It's shaded in. And another way of saying this is 3/4. Now, the number at the top of the fraction talks about how many equal parts that there are. And I wonder if you can remember what that number is called. Well, that number is called the numerator. So there's 2 important words that you need to remember, and that is at the top of a fraction here is called the numerator, and at the bottom of the fraction is known as the denominator. And I've just got another way there of representing 3/4, because I can see that there are 4, pretend with they're sweets, and that 1, 2, 3 of those sweets out of the 4 sweets are shaded, so 3/4 of the sweets are shaded. So that's just a quick refresher of what I mean by a fraction. So moving on to today's learning objective. So for today, we're asking you to think about finding fractions of quantities or fractions of amounts. And we're going to play a really fun game of would you rather to try to apply our skills all about fractions to be able to achieve that objective today. So what I have got here are some mini marshmallows, which is some of my favourite things to have, and my daughter's favourite things to have on a hot chocolate. So I have got in this mug, okay, Blake, you might notice this mug because you actually bought it for me. I think it was for Christmas, so thank you very much. So in this mug, I've got 20 mini marshmallows. And in this mug, I've got 18 mini marshmallows. And so I want you to have a think about what you or what I would rather. So I've got a question here. Would you rather 1/3 of the 18 marshmallows in here, or would you rather 1/4 of the mini marshmallows in here? No, I really like mini marshmallows, so I want the one that is going to have the answer, is going to have the biggest amount. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this fraction, 1/3 of 60. Now, what is that actually asking me to do? So all you need to do is you need to get the whole big number here, which is 18, and you divide it by the denominator, which is 3. So 18 divided by 3. And another way of saying that is how many 3s are in 18. So I'm going to write that underneath, 18 divided by 3. And I know my times table that there are 6 3s in 18. So 1/3 of 18 marshmallows is 6 marshmallows. So if I had the first mug, then I would have 6 marshmallows. Okay, so moving on to 1/4 of 20. So we do the same thing again. So we say 20 divided by the denominator, which is 4. So 20 divided by 4, another way of saying this is how many 4s are in 20. And I know that there are 5 4s in 20. So if I had the second mug, I would only end up with 5 marshmallows. So I would prefer to have this mug here, because I know that 1/3 of 18 is going to give me 6 marshmallows. whereas 1/4 of 20 is only going to give me 5 marshmallows. So I would prefer to have 1/3 of 18 marshmallows. Okay, moving on. So sometimes when we're looking at finding fractions of quantities, sometimes the numerator, that's the number at the top of the fraction, isn't always 1. And so then we need to do something else. So you might remember the rhyme that we use in school, which is this. So if the numerator is greater than 1, so for instance, if I've got a sum that looks something more like this, you can see here the numerator here is 2 and the numerator here is 3. So if the numerator is more than 1, then I need to do this. I need to divide by the bottom and multiply by the top. And I will show you what I mean by that here. So this time I'm asking you to find out whether you would rather 2/6 of £36 or 3/8 of £40. So if you remember the rhyme, I've got to divide by the bottom and I've got to multiply by the top. So the first thing that I've got to do is divide by the bottom. So 36 divided by 6. So it's asking you how many 6s are there in 36. So 36 divided by 6, well, I know that there are 6 6s in 36. So 36 divided by 6 is 6. And then I've got to multiply by the top. So I've got to multiply by the numerator. So now my answer here is 6. So I'm going to multiply this answer by the numerator, which is 2. So 6 times by 2 is 12, and £12. So 2/6 of £36 is £12. Now 3/8 of £40. So remember the rhyme, I divide by the bottom and multiply by the top. So 40 divided by 8, that's the same as saying how many 8s are there in 40. So 40 divided by 8 is 5. There are 5 8s in 40. And then I need to multiply by the top. So I need to multiply the 5 by the numerator, which is 3. So 5 3s are 15. So now I've got my two answers. 2/6 of £36 is £12. 3/8 of £40 is £15. So I know that I would prefer 3/8 of £40 because it's going to give me £15. Okay, so if you were doing the 1 or the 2 chili challenge, I suggest that you pause the video now and have a go of those. If you're doing the 3 chili, then just keep on watching. So you're going to have some questions that might look something like this if you're doing the 3 chili challenge. So 7/8 of £560, or would you prefer 5/6 of £600? So I need to do exactly the same thing. I need to divide this number by the bottom, by the denominator, and then times the answer of that by the numerator. So I'm going to use what I know to help me because 560 divided by 8 is very tricky to do. So instead of that, I'm going to start off by doing 56 divided by 8. Well, I know that 56 divided by 8 is 7, but because this is 560, I need to add the 0 to my 7, so it's 70. So the first sum I do is 560 divided by 8, which is 70. And now I need to multiply this answer by the numerator, by the top. So 70 times by 7 is quite tricky. So I'm going to do 7 multiplied by 7 is 49. But 70 is 10 times bigger, so I need to add my 0 to 49, which gives 490. So £490. So I now know that 7/8 of £560 is £490. Now I'm going to calculate 5/6 of 600 doing exactly the same. So I take this number and I divide it by the bottom. I divide it by the denominator. So 600 divided by 6 is tricky. But I know that 60 divided by 6 is 10. So 600 divided by 6, I need to add a 0, so it must be 100. So that's my first sum. 600 divided by 6 is 100. Then I need to multiply this answer by the numerator. So 100 times by 5 equals 500. And I need to remember to put my pound sign in front of it. So now I've got my answer. 5/6 of 600 is 500. Compared to 7/8 of 560 is 490. So I know that I would rather 5/6 of 600 pounds. Okay. So guys, if you can do your work on your piece of paper, and then we will provide you with the answers tomorrow. So good luck, and I hope you enjoy working with fractions. Hwyl fawr boys and pedwar.